Oh, this is Everett Pierce of Einstein 314. Now, today is November the 5th, 2016, and I have about 2:35 a.m. in the morning. Now, this is a topic that I have to talk about, and it's about the desecration of the American flag. Now, I thought it was pretty much clear-cut in terms of interpretation of this. Now, basically, my position is very similar to the Supreme Court Judge Scalia. Okay, but let me add more to this in terms of the American flag. Well, desecration of the American flag, just for the record, it pisses me off. It would piss anyone off to destroy the flag, okay, because basically, I mean, the individuals that have liberties and opportunities in the United States is essentially saying, I don't want it when you burn up the flag. But they have the right, under the First Amendment right, to express themselves in terms of a protest, okay? If it's a flag they own and they burn it, they have the right to do that. Okay, now if they go to, say, the post office or government building and they burn the flag on the pole, that's destruction of government property. Okay, and that's far different. Now, there's a difference between protesting and rioting. Okay, now, if a person's protesting and they want to put down the flag and step on it, which just horrifies a lot of people and it pisses off a lot of people. But see, that's what makes us a nation much different than any other nation. Is because we are wearing the big boy pants, adult pants. We are to be acting like an adults, meaning that we're not so quick, even though we don't like it, and say, oh, you don't desecrate the flag. Because we want to take away your freedom of speech, the right to protest. Okay, so, but there's a difference. Protesting and rioting, they're two different tones. Just like positive, negative, hot and cold, male and female, day and night. Okay, so if you're protesting, you're on the sidewalk, you're whatever your cause is, you want to put down the flag, you want to burn it. Okay, we have to allow you that right and liberties. Okay, as part of your First Amendment right, freedom of expression of how you're feeling. Okay, we don't have to agree with it. Now, this is where people cross the line. When they go into rioting, then it takes on a whole different polarity of energy. And let me explain why. Okay, well, we know with rioting, that comes along with rioting. Essentially, you're no longer protesting. You're no longer protected under the First Amendment right. You're protesting. You're rioting. That is a criminal act. When you're rioting, you're obstructing the streets, which is inhibiting emergency vehicles from the rights of servicing other Americans, okay? So if you're rioting, say for example, what does it say? If I'm out here and I burn up the flag, and then I run down the street and I knock out a bunch of windows, and then I burn up a couple companies. Okay. Him burning up the flag at that moment is exercise of freedom of expression. Okay. But when he went and broke out those windows, okay, he is now switching into the criminal, or you could say a terrorist type tone of energy. Now, would he still be subjected to burning the flag? No, because he did it before he turned it to being criminal. Now, if this guy or woman is out there and he's busting up the windows and lighting things on fire and shooting people or whatever, the most obvious, now it's no longer a protest. Because protesting is the right to be heard. You can be heard standing on the side of it on a sidewalk, and not obstructing and taking away other people's liberties and freedoms and opportunities. The whole point to your cause is that you want to be heard. Now, when you're doing it in such a way is not, you don't want just to be heard. You are trying to force change. Means I'm protesting and you either change it and you do something different or else. Okay, that's not what protesting is about. It's like if your cause, you want to be heard, meaning you don't want it to be brushed under the rug and no one is aware of it. There's a big difference. That's why we have to identify certain things. So when you go into the rioting mode, you're now a criminal. You're in the same lines, in the same category as like terrorism. Okay, so if this person goes out and he's already done these acts, he's burned up a car, he beat up some people, and just a slew of things that is considered against the law. And then if he stops and grabs the flag and says, "Oh, fuck, fuck, fuck," and then burns up the flag. Now that is subjected to the laws, because now that is criminal activity. Now we have to treat it as if this person is, and essentially what they are, they're carrying out terroristic behaviors. And this is illegal and is subjected to the justice system. So there's a difference. So in terms of the Congress and lawmakers and stuff, I hate the idea. Okay, but it is the spirit of the American people. That is the value that we hold. We hold that we rise above other nations with concepts, evolutionary concepts, that puts the true definition to being adult and thinking higher. We with moms and dads out there, and they see a 2-year-old having a tantrum. So that's essentially where some people, they're protesting, they want to be heard, and they just feel like stepping on the flag or burning the flag, but they're not hurting anyone. They're exercising so there's really no crime there. And that's essentially what Supreme Court Scalia had mentioned. Okay, but when they switch it to, like I already said, is rioting, then that's a whole different ballgame. So now you're illustrating and demonstrating illegal activity, criminal activity, and when you burn the flag, that's what ISIS and other people are doing, not to mention chopping up off the heads of Christians and whatever. So that is how you differentiate the two. So if you was to bring forth how they were burning that flag, were they in the mode of protesting, true protesting, or were they in an act of rioting, and then after they've already become a criminal, they stopped to burn up the flag? Now that puts them in the same level as being a terrorist. Okay, so there's a big difference there. One is punishable by law, and what isn't. Okay, and there's a big difference. So I wanted to clarify that in terms of, for anyone out there who's in question as to the desecration of the flag. It's kind of like pro-life and pro-choice. They're both equally important. Okay, meaning it is critical, it's important for our First Amendment, freedom of speech and expression, in a particular fashion, in a organized, in a constructive fashion. Okay, it doesn't mean I'm going to protest and that means I go around and I do whatever I want and I block up the streets. No. There is an order of things, a reason of things. And why you don't block up a street, because now you're going to take liberties and freedoms from other people who might need an ambulance, and then they end up dying because you now have that street blocked off. Or someone set a business on fire, and because the fire department can't get there to put out the fire, burned up the next building, and 100 people died because they weren't able to get out in time. So there's a difference, and you got to identify these things. So in terms of desecration of the flag, is if they're truly protesting, they're protected by the law and the First Amendment. If they're rioting, means they busted out of the window, they punched someone or stabbed someone or lit a company on fire, which is criminal activity. We would prosecute that anyways. And then if they mix that in by burning with the American flag, then they just turn it into the tone of terrorism. Because that's what we are seeing with other groups out there that want to kill Americans and have carried out terrorist attack. And the thing is, the reason why we have to think in terms of an adult is we can't just get all flustered up, because someone wants to burn the flag. Okay, because we have to be an adults. We have to be logic and reasonable things, even though we don't like it, and that's why it forces us to get along. But we also have to set certain boundaries. We know that, okay, like say for example, in terms of boundaries, okay, we'll just say on a what if, I have say murderous thoughts in my head, and I'm just thinking about killing. Okay, but that's not a crime. But when I act out my thoughts and I'm actually killing people, that shifts two different polarities. Okay, so that's the reason why I'm giving different examples to make it easier. I thought it was simple and easy from the very beginning in terms of our American flag and certain things. But to take it one step further, then Supreme Court Justice Scalia is when they are burning the flag, what are they doing in the process of it? Are they truly protesting, or are they in the act of criminal activity, burning the flag? Now, they can't just burn the flag and then go into criminal activity because they're still protected. They have to be engaged into that criminal activity. And so, I mean, with that going on, I'm sure there's plenty of cameras going around. So if you have a cell phone and it shows him going over there and punching this guy out, and then goes over and butts out the window and then lights something on fire, and then he grabs the American flag and says, "Oh, F you and F you," and burns it. Now he is treated like a terrorist. He is subjected by the laws that is set forth in this nation. So that there's a difference. So, in a way, when you look at it from that perspective, it's just not one-sided. So, I understand the frustration of people out there and say, "Oh, what? Not punish the people that burn our flags?" Because essentially you're spitting in the face of all the American soldiers and people who've sacrificed for this nation, so you can have a country to feel safe in. And to voice your First Amendment right, to be able to protest. But it doesn't mean you take away other people's rights and opportunities. It's about fairness and doing things in a particular way, in an organized way, in a constructive way. So not only is it constructive and gives merit to your cause, because as soon as you cross those lines, you take away all merit that you possibly have of having a different insight to a particular situation. So it's quite simple. If I was a Supreme Court judge, that's how I would base my decision. If I had a case in front of me and there's enough overwhelming evidence that I can actually see, I can see the video where he went over and busted up that car and he lit this thing on fire and then he grabbed the flag and bit it on. I would prosecute him. Without a doubt. He's not, at that point, he's a criminal. And he is to be prosecuted as such. But if the video shows that he was there, he was on the sidewalk and saying, "Oh," whatever his cause is, and he stomps on the flag and lights it on fire, he's protected under the First Amendment right. So, depending on the state in which, or the offense per se, because we're also talking about illegal immigration and immigrants. If they stay in the lines of protesting, they're fine. But as soon as they cross over, then they're subjected to our laws and can be punishable. So if they riot and they burn the flag, then it's open game. So just like I was explaining with my thoughts, or any kind of thoughts, so you can have them in here, but as soon as you act them out, you're basically breaking the society's established laws. So if you conduct it in that way, then you got both sides is being fairly. Because otherwise, essentially that's what they're doing. When they're burning, desecrating the flag, it's like name calling. If I was to come in and say, hey, yo, B, and yo, N, and yo, honky, it's basically people using words to puppeteer your emotions. Oh, you don't dare do that in my country, But see, we are an adults. We used to rise above that. You say, okay, I'm angry. I don't agree with what you're doing, and it pisses me off. But I'm going to let you do. But as soon as you cross over that line, and you're now rioting, and you're engaging in criminal activity, I'm now seeing you like a terrorist. Because that's essentially what you're doing. You're terrorizing that town. You're terrorizing everyone in that town. So, hopefully that has clarified a lot of things in terms of the desecration of our American flag. And it has to be overwhelming evidence or video or documentation that this person was in a state of rioting, in a state of criminal activity when he was burning it. Not before, it has to be after. Then he's subjected to criminal laws. And then you can prosecute him to the fullest of the law. Otherwise, he or she is protected under the First Amendment. And with that, this is Everett Pierce. I think I said earlier. Anyways, it's December the 5th, 2016. I think I said earlier it was November. I think I said November. But anyway, it's December the 5th. It's about 3 in the morning, Arizona time. So I hope I have clarified certain things, and what I've illustrated to you is of logic. It doesn't tell what I've just explained to you. It doesn't say I'm a scholar of our nation in the structure, in the laws, in the Constitution. It tells you I'm the author of this concept. So not only can I tell you the right and wrong way of doing it, I can break it down and give you reason, rationale, and justification and everything else. Because a problem solver or a designer of certain things or of that sort, you're going to know it inside and out, just like my body. I'm going to know everything about me. I'm going to also know everything about certain concepts if you're an author. Now, if you're a scholar, you're not going to know everything. You'll know the basic things that are taught. So anyways, that I hope has clarified in terms of the desecration of the American flag. And like I said, if it's not their flag and it's government property, then it's the destruction of government property. And that's prosecuted in a particular way. So in terms of First Amendment and in rioting and protesting, they're two totally different individual things. And you handle them individually. So I think it's pretty well clear cut. Now, what our government wants to do and how they want to do it and how the other people, for those people that are frustrated and are pissed off, I feel your pain. I'm there. When I see that, I'm just like, rah! Why? But I also know, because I'm a man of reason, logic, problem solving, and say, wait a minute, it's just like a 2-year-old kid having a tantrum. I have to allow the kid to have his tantrum within reason, as long as he's not in harm's way. Okay. But as soon as adults cross that line, then they're subjected and they're no longer protected under the First Amendment because they're no longer protesting. With that, this is Everett Pierce, December 5th, 2016.